Hello, my nerdlings. If you're new here, my name is Nikki. Welcome to my channel where we get nerdy. Today, I know I'm late. I'm late to the party. We're doing our October wrap up. I haven't done one of these for the month that it actually belongs to in a hot minute this year. So that's okay. In the month of October, I read 6 books. One of them was on Kindle, so just to pretend that there's another book in this stack. Okay? So, first was So Not Meant to Be by Megan Quinn. This is the second book in the Cain Brothers series, following J.P. Cain. Let's see. Are you two friends? Ha! Friends with J.P. Cain. That's laughable. He firmly believes men and women can't be friends and work together, so it's safe to say Kelsey Gardner wants nothing to do with him. He's annoyingly loud, obnoxiously handsome, and has made art out of pushing Kelsey's buttons all day, every day. No, thank you. So you can imagine how horrified Kelsey is when she not only has to fly out to San Francisco for JP's work, but also has to stay with him in the same penthouse during the trip. They'll be sharing the same air for 24/7 as full-fledged working roommates and being that close to JP is reading more like a nightmare. The man doesn't seem to know how to wear a shirt, thrives off protein bars, and is constantly flirting up a storm. Tack on his polished good looks, and Kelsey is suddenly staring down the barrel of a seductive temptation that makes it hard to sleep. But she can control herself. She's been doing it since the first day she met the guy, after all. Because there's one thing she knows for certain, and that's she and J.P. Cain are so not meant to be. I read the entire Cain Brothers series between October and September and October. I read all 3 books. And I think JP's is my favorite. Yeah, J.P. Cain's my favorite. There was some twists and turns. Oh my goodness, my hair. There's some twists and turns in this story that I was not expecting. It is spicy. It's not extremely spicy like a Katie Robert book, but it is not a light fluff spice like Megan Quinn, my girl. She knows how to write spice. Okay? So make sure you are aware of that going into this. This is definitely rated R. Not XXX, but definitely R. So there was our first book. Our second book we read, probably my most anticipated release this entire year. It's Pucking Sweet by Emily Rath. This is following Poppy St. James, Lucas Novikov, and Colton Morrow. It is a Why Choose romance. And it's hockey. I love hockey. So Poppy St. James is the director of public relations for the Jacksonville Rays. That is not a true hockey team, though it's like a very good name for a hockey team. There's the party boy defenseman that she has to try and keep under wraps, like keep him well behaved because he's a butthead. And then you have Colton Morrow, who is a defenseman that is just super duper sweet and the biggest cinnamon roll puppy, golden retriever type guy. And one day, her sister makes a devastating announcement that sends Poppy spiraling. And who is there to pick her up but Lucas Novikov and Colton Morrow? So this has some, obviously, LGBTQ plus rep because Colton and Lucas do interact in a sexual manner. But it also has person of color rep. Colton is a person of color. So I really love this series by Emily Rath. I really do. I'm a Jacksonville Rays fan, big time. And then after Pucking Sweet, I read A Long Time Coming by Megan Quinn. This is the last book in the Kane Brothers series. This is following Breaker Kane. And Breaker, let's see. Breaker Kane's best friend, Leah, is about to get married and has been asked to be Leah asked him to be her maid of honor, essentially. But Leah's mother-in-law is like spearheading this whole wedding planning, ruining it for Leah. And eventually Leah just says, deuces, I'm not doing it, right? And Breaker's like trying to be supportive, but this is his friend that he has had a crush on his entire childhood, and just Leah is oblivious to it. So it was definitely a long time coming. After that, I read my first Omegaverse, and that is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I bought this when it first came out. I don't know why it took me so long to read. I think it was the fact because, like, I know he's a werewolf, and I was confused on how it would work. A werewolf and a vampire. But she's a vampire bride, he's the alpha werewolf, and they're being in an arranged marriage for an alliance. There is a whole lot of politics in this for it to be a paranormal romance. Really, really love this. There are 2 characters that we are introduced to in this that I really want there to be a sequel because of them too. Like, Miss Hazelwood, what do you need from me so I can get a sequel? Please. But here's a really good blurb. Hazelwood unleashes her sparkling voice and wit on a paranormal Romeo and Juliet. That's exactly how it feels. So, I really loved this. Really, really loved it. I think I gave it 5 stars. I told my friend Kieran that loves Omegaverse. Like, okay, girl, I need more. And so then she recommended Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. This is following a werewolf who is unable to shift into his wolf form, right? And Evie Savoy, who is a witch. Mateo Cruz is the werewolf. And what's great is his wolf, it's kind of like Venom and Eddie talking to each other. Sorry, I had a coughing fit. So it's like Venom and Eddie talking to each other between Mateo and his wolf. And then Evie is a witch, and in her coven, they have the rule of you don't help werewolves because they just don't trust them, right? Absolutely loved this. It had the banter, it had the spice, it had such a unique paranormal world set in an urban setting that I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. And then the last book I read this month was the second book in this series, which is called Don't Hex and Drive. And that is about Evie's sister. I can't remember her name. But it's Evie's sister, and her, one day she is riding her bike and gets hit by a vampire. But he's not just any type of vampire. He's a special type of vampire that has like heightened tracking abilities. A Stygorn. He's a Stygorn. He has a heightened tracking ability, and these girls have been going missing, right? And the paranormal world thinks it has something to do with them, but they can't quite figure out who to pin it on. So they get the Stygorn here to help find these missing girls. and then the sister, I can't remember her name, and the Stygorn, I can't remember his name either, except that I do know he is from the Middle East descent. They talk about it. He is Middle Eastern descent. But anyways, they end up working together to try and get figure out where these girls are being taken and all of that stuff, and love blooms from there. So I highly recommend that series. I'm waiting until my shopping spree for my reading challenge before I buy the rest of the books in the series, and then I'll just own all of them and I'll binge it. So that's that. Like the video if you did. Comment down below what you read in the month of October and what was your favorite read. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. And until next time, you are loved and you are valid.